हेलो महारथियों। कवच कुंडल पहन के तैयार लड़ाई के लिए? Relax, it's not that kind of war. It's just about building awareness so that you can spread the awareness to others. So go, just make a cup of tea for yourself. Relax, put your leg on top of another leg and just listen to this podcast today so that you become more aware and you can spread the awareness. Welcome to another episode of Fly Spirit Away. So today's topic we chose is sacrifice. Look, some of the topic that we really choose, or this topic that we've chosen it, we choose to completely avoid it as if this is not my problem. But in society the problem exists and eventually at some point in time you have to face it. So I remember like when a childhood, a snake came in front of me when I was a child. And what do you do? Snake is right in front of you, you simply close your eyes. And the snake thinks, oh, there's a stone standing there. And you simply close the eyes, the snake roams around you, your eyes are closed. It just runs around and goes away somewhere. You open your eyes and tell yourself, told you there was no problem. Look, there's nothing. And there was no problem. It took 50 years for me to stand here in front of you to show you or make you realize that I know the snake is not in front of me, but it exists somewhere out there. One day I have to face it. And today I came in front of you to face those important social issues. So the topic is sacrifice, and I'm going to give you a bit of more detail what it's all about. But I just want to give you a bit of background behind it. But before that, like any other episode, it deserves its own title song. And I chose this song, I think will suit this topic the most. जब कहीं पे कुछ नहीं भी नहीं था, जब कहीं पे कुछ नहीं भी नहीं था, वही था वही था वही था वही था, वो जो तुझ में समाया, वो जो मुझ में समाया, बस वही वही माया. Guys, आपका माया का भ्रम तोड़ने की मैं कोशिश करे जा रहा हूँ, and I'm just trying to bring you aware important topics. I think as a society, we should all face it together and solve those issues, right? So let me give you a bit of background first about it. So, or a realization, it's not a background, it's a realization that I really seen from my observation, and perhaps you have seen it, that when a kid is born, like you have seen with your own experiences, right? So, or any animal or any kid or anyone who is born or who comes to this life, the God gives them a special ability. They are, whenever they come from the life, straight out of the life and on earth, they have already certain capabilities built into them. They're simply aware of certain things. They're aware of their surroundings. They very soon realize who is the mom. They really started sensing the danger around that. They're saying, is there a problem? Am I safe or not? They realizing the feeling of love. All those things they already know very moment they come into life. It's already inborn them. The God gifted them the ability. It stays with them when they come here. These things are already with every animal being, including humans too. But even with own animals, they have the feeling. They can sense fear. They know the mother. They follow the mother. They instinctively they do everything what they do. Need to do it. And for human being is the same thing. So in the initial phases of our life, in the beginning phases, we behave in a very similar way. Like our life, our baby's life, is not very different, or does not start very different from any other animal babies or It's a similar ways, right? The differences definitely comes bit later on, because as a human being, we develop a conscious thinking, a conscious thoughts that we can develop it, which is completely separate from our instinct thought or feeling thought, which is very different. So we develop that conscious thought feeling, and also we have the ability to learn. uh, we don't start always from zero. We already learn from our parents, and we start from further. So we basically build on top what we have already learned, and that's why as a humanity we made so much progress on that. But I was just coming down to only the initial pages, that when we are born, we all are born with some instincts, we are born with some feelings, and the feelings, as a human baby or as an animal, we have similar kind of feelings, and we all react to the same thing, similar ways. So I mean, that is a true fact, and perhaps you have noticed it yourself. It's a simple observation. You will realize that's true for everyone about it. So, 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 now giving a storyline here, that when I was a kid and I was coming back from school, going towards my house, and I really was seeing that some religious festival was happening around that thing. There was a big crowd around. There's a big crowd, and but I also noticed there's a goat, and the goat was tied to the pole, and it cannot move a lot, but small rope was there and was moving around. And I really see a sense of fear in the goat, right? I really see, and I really see that it's trying to, it knows that this space does not belong to me. I should not be here. I should run away from this place. That it can sense perhaps that something is about to happen, is not going to be good for me, and they can sense fear. And whatever the fear they were sensing it, in some ways I felt their fear in that I know, I can feel how they are feeling it. And in some ways, when I came face to face with it, it's trying to perhaps look and asking for help, that, hey, can you please free me from this place? Can you please take me away from this? I know that this place does not belong to me. Something is about to happen to me, which is really not right. Which is really not right. And I can sense the same thing. And I was a small kid then, and I look for help here, there, a lot. And I'm a kid, and I'm trying to sense, how can I really do something, anything about it? I really can't do. Is there anything I can do about it? Like my internal child is asking, can please someone help this thing, free it, so that it can be its own self, do what it needs to do in life. Can anyone help? I mean, with all my deliberation, my inner child, I mean, I couldn't do much that day. And I had to go, leave it to, and I know I left to leave it to his or her own destiny. And that day I simply walked away. I mean, that day, definitely, I closed my eyes. I said, I'm a child, and these people are adults, and there's a big world, and the world should be knowing perhaps what they are doing, and perhaps they are doing the righteous thing. And I simply closed my eyes that day, and I knew that a wrong is being done to the animal. I knew injustice is being done to the animal. It don't deserve it. That's what at least my mind is telling me instinctively. But I thought the world perhaps is small, bigger than me. They must be knowing more than me, and they must be doing the right thing. I'm trying to put logic to it, but my mind, my instinct, my thoughts are telling me, no, this is wrong, this is not right, this shouldn't be done. That day I closed my eyes. And I grew up, and these kind of incidents I've seen many times in my life. I never opened my eyes. Like when the snake comes, I close my eyes. I closed my eyes. I did not open my eyes. and let the world do what they've been doing it, thinking what they must be doing it right. Internally, I still cry every single time, but I said, no, I cannot do anything about it. It took really 50 years to stand in front of you to tell you this story that, look, I don't think so. I was right all along. Me was right all along. The world was wrong. Someone has to stand up and speak for the animal who cannot speak for themselves. Someone has to stand up for them. People stand up for so many rights, but this is plain simple animal cruelty. People need to stand up and say what's not right is not right. Animal sacrifices should not be allowed, and it should be banned, and there's no need for it. I'm not talking about vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Many people saying is that they give a lot of logic that even animals eat, which is fine. If you ever develop a higher consciousness and you decided to become vegetarian, you're more than welcome. But unnecessarily killing of animal just purely for sacrifice for your faith, that should not be the case, no matter what. So actually, I'll give you a reason why that's not right, and I'll give you a bit of more detail around it. But for a second, I'll take you from a different direction altogether, right? Let's talk about faith, right? Like most of the people belong to some faith, right? And some religion. And this religion existed for centuries and for generations. And they existed for good reason. They wouldn't have survived. If they survived here, they are for good reasons. And one of the key factors of an important factor that every religion needs to build into its framework is sacrifice. It's very important. Sacrifice is very important. As a social gathering, animal, we live together as a herd, we should know all the value of what a sacrifice means. All our religious figures, all the biggest religious figures, that sacrifice their own being in many ways to teach us the value of what a sacrifice is, that when really time comes to stand up, you should be a bigger man, and you should not refrain from sacrificing yourself for the bigger good of the society. That feeling is already built. It has to be built as a part of the framework, and all the religious figures showed it by their own example doing the same thing. That what exactly sacrifice really mean. Why a mom, dad really work so hard for their children. Throughout it, they go into fire to save their kids no matter what. They put their life first before theirs. Why does a policeman really goes and fight the bad guys knowing that they will be taking a bullet, knowing that they have their wife and kids at home? They take their life in danger. Sacrifice. Why does in 9/11 the fireman goes in the infernal saving so many lives, putting their life at risk? Sacrifice. Why does the military really goes out to fight to save the country so that we can stay safe? This is all sacrifice. And the sacrifice has to be built as a part of the framework, as a religious framework, so that when time comes, we can be our bigger people. We are ready to sacrifice ourselves, so the bigger self for the other, for the bigger purpose. That was the reason why they set the standard. All the faith, all the religion, all the this at this standard, this is how we should do it. But unfortunately, but unfortunately, and those days really marked as an important event. Like those are days are marked as an important event in the calendar, and we are celebrated it, and it should be rightfully celebrated. It should be rightfully celebrated because it was an important day, and we can pass those values to our young generation, to our young kid. It's very important, so they can continue to do the same. But as time has passed, people have started interpreting those 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 days in a very wrong sense. They started killing thousands of animals as part of sacrifice rituals. And they think they're doing something good. And they're thinking that they are really working for a cause. This is plain and simple animal cruelty. They should be the day. These kind of days is meant to be a rejoice for the whole community. It was a very important day, and on those days I think our kids, or to all the adults, rather than looking externally, people should be telling the story of what happened that day and how our religious figure put themselves for the bigger good of the society. When you tell a story, people start reflecting it internally. That makes them a much better person. But if you start looking externally, and if you're thinking killing animals is really good and someone is getting happy up there, that is not the case. And it is completely working against it. It's against working yourself, it's against working your family, it's against working your community, and even for the better good of the society, it's everything against it. And why? Because when you do that thing, rather than teaching your kid a bigger sense of self, a compassion, you build, on the contrary, negative thoughts. You show them violence, and you build negative tendencies in them. You put the seed of negative tendencies in them. And when they grow up, those memories are still with them. And pain only propagates more pain. Does the society really get helped by it? No. It's going on a wrong direction. The world has taken it for a wrong direction. Every life needs to be respected in similar ways the way I respect my life. So guys, this is a very important topic, and I know that we really don't want to see it, and we really want to close our eyes for it. But I think it's really high time that we spread the awareness about it. Let the world know that what they're doing is wrong. This is plain simple animal cruelty, completely unaccepted. When the day of happiness is rejoice for me, is the day of happiness and rejoice for every single being, including animals, including all flora, fauna, all trees, every being which has life in it, that it's a day of rejoice for everyone. Guys, hopefully my message resonated with your thoughts. Hopefully spread the more awareness about it. Together, we can make this world a better place. Until next time, peace on earth, peace everywhere.